Two of our seasoned sports reporters are celebrating a decade here at WDRB.
10 years ago, Rick Bozich and Eric Crawford joined our sports department, and to mark the occasion, they're counting down the top 10 stories from their time at WDRB. Here are numbers 7 and 8.
Eric, it's been 10 years since we've been here. We have an office now. Tell the people where we began this journey.
That's right. Well, we've got quills here. We began at whatever coffee shop we could find a lot of times, didn't we? I mean, it was just anywhere we could find to work. Starbucks, we ran into Shane Van, and sometimes you run into stories out there in the coffee shop. So that made it good.
You know, what was great about it is the Wi-Fi worked. That was good, right? And secondly, there weren't a lot of sports fans there, so we could go in there. We'd go out to press conferences at U of L, and then we'd go and meet at Quills and decide what we were going to write about. And nobody in there was asking us any sports questions, and we didn't get our work done. No recruiting questions.
You were big on quills. I love the Starbucks at the Sealbach Hotel right here by the office. And then, of course, we went through a period where we were out of the office. Everybody was out of the office. And I think if you look at one of the big things we covered in sports in our time here, it was that whole COVID period and just the massive impact it had on sports of every kind. And I lump them all into COVID. But you look what it did to the Kentucky Derby. You look at the impact it had on Louisville basketball. It probably helped contribute to the departure of Chris Mack and the struggles he had. It kind of hijacked the Scott Satterfield era and caused them problems. I mean, look what it did to Kentucky basketball, how that program struggled during the COVID year without crowds. I mean, that was a huge thing, and I think we're still feeling the effects of it.
In high school sports, how many days were we on those Zoom calls waiting to see what was going to happen to the high school schedule each weekend, and how high schools were going to be able to come up with enough money to keep going forward with their programs. There was so much uncertainty. Were they going to be able to practice? Were they going to be able to play? We never see anything like it, and hopefully we won't see anything like it again.
No, and it changed our jobs because we're not at the games and you're covering them remotely. Some things we still cover remotely. The other big change I think that's happened in our time here is what's happened with women's sports. Even 10 years ago, Louisville women's basketball was starting to come on. They'd had Angel McCautry, they'd been to a Final Four, but Jeff Walls has really built that Louisville women's program, not just into he's gone to now 4 Final Fours, but they're one of the attendance leaders in the nation. You've got the women's soccer team. We've got all of these examples of women sports in Louisville stepping forward.
Beyond a doubt. We've got the University of Kentucky volleyball team, won a national championship. Louisville was unbeaten and ranked #1 all of last year until they got to the Final Four. We've had a tremendous amount of swimmers come out of the University of Louisville, as well as Brooke Forty from Sacred Heart, who went out to Stanford and won a gold medal in the Olympics. We can go on, but you're right, the women's soccer team, Racing Louisville, has become front and center. They are our one major league sports team. And they've become very popular, not only with older fans, but especially with the younger generation. They really can relate to him. They get excited to go out there and see him play and get autographs and take pictures.
Yeah, gold medalists all around. I mean, Kentucky's got track and field gold medalist. Indiana had a swimmer win an Olympic gold. And to watch what's going on with Racing Louisville, some of these young players, Emily Fox is a member of the national team. Jalen Howell is playing with the U.S. women's national team. Some of those that has a chance to be the most popular soccer team in the country. The men are coming along and starting to do better at the national level. So it's all been fun to watch, and it's been fun to cover as it's gotten more and more high profile, and we can see in the interest of what we're doing when we cover it.
And tomorrow